What makes Prague one of the world's most beautiful cities? Is it its towers, confidently reaching upwards, as if saving the city from the whims of the heavens? Is it the river Vltava, which in its meanderings embraces the city, calmly but firmly? Or is it its picturesque and singular charm, which stirs our imaginations and helps us understand the world we live in? Just like our film, the hundreds of thousands of tourists who every year visit Prague, the capital city of the Czech Republic, try to find the answer to that question. Vyšehrad, a mystical place on a rocky outcrop on the right bank of the river Vltava. This is the birthplace of many legends and stories from the period when our history begins. Vyšehrad is one of the most important symbols of Czech statehood because it was the royal seat of Vratislav II, the first Czech king. Across the river and spiritually connected, the city is dominated by perhaps the most famous symbol of Prague, Prague Castle. The seat of many Czech kings, later it became home to Czech presidents. In fact, it was the first Czechoslovak president, Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, who first opened it to the public. Prague Castle is a monumental complex of buildings and churches, built around 3 courtyards. The most imposing part of Prague Castle is St. Vitus Cathedral. Featuring a typical cathedral layout, it was inspired by the architecture of southern France. Its foundation stone was laid by Emperor Charles IV in 1344. Prague Castle is such a treasure that it's hard to imagine many tours of the city not including a visit. That may be because the magic of the shared experience of thousands of visitors from all over the planet makes this city one of the most beautiful on Earth. Or could it be because of the spectacular palaces, reflecting in their windows the cobbles of Prague's streets? There are over 10 of them in the castle complex alone. There are few spots in the capitals of the world where you're surrounded by such a feeling of triumphal stateliness and justified pride. Here you find yourself in the middle of the best the architecture of the time had to offer. Just a few steps from the shadows of magnificent palace architecture, you arrive at places where the noise of carriages and regal revels does not reach. Here, rich aristocratic cloaks were replaced by the simple attire of the then residents of the suburb that was the castle complex. Is it not the close proximity of history and the present that visitors to Prague find most magical? Prague is described as a living textbook of architecture. Walk its squares, boulevards and quiet streets, and you experience, intermingled and in the most varied forms, Gothic, Renaissance and Baroque architecture. In Prague, it's not difficult to find buildings where you can, with bated breath, take in the spirit of its age. You can keep that spirit deep within your soul as a source of inspiration for a quiet dialogue with Prague. Prague's wonderful gardens are another reason the city is regarded as one of the most beautiful in the world. Everyone can find their own melody in the onomatopoeic scenery of the gardens of Prague. Now do we know why Prague is regarded as one of the most beautiful of cities? Perhaps it's just because of all the things that you'll not find elsewhere in the world. Or perhaps it's simply because in all of Prague's corners, you find Prague itself.